Today I'll walk you through 7 of the most common ways creators earn income. I've experimented with several of these myself. Some worked better than others, so I'll share my personal experiences with them as well as some do's and don'ts. Now, before I dive in, a bit of background about me. I've been running a YouTube channel called Iron Codes since 2021, a long time already. It's been steadily growing to a point where it's now my full-time job. Actually, that's already been like that since a few years. I have about 280,000 subscribers at the moment. My videos get anywhere between 10K, 100K views, sometimes even more than that. And I have a small team. So overall, that's a real business. And that means I have costs for producing the videos, paying my team members and myself, obviously, renting a room, other costs that you have maintaining the business, such as having an accountant and things like that. So how do I actually earn money? That's what we're going to find out today. So if you're a content creator, and it doesn't really matter whether you're publishing videos on YouTube, whether you're writing blogs, whether you're doing LinkedIn posts, TikTok, whatever you're doing, there's going to be different revenue streams that are going to be available to you. And on some platforms, some of these streams work better than others. Now, one of the most well-known streams of revenue that people will know about is ad revenue. If you publish a video on YouTube, well, people who watch those videos, they actually see ads in between them. You don't have much control over that, by the way, but a share of that ad income that YouTube earns is shared with the creator. And there's similar mechanisms on other platforms as well, though arguably YouTube, I think, is one of the top platforms if you want to earn money with ads. That also means that there's a lot of tooling available to you on YouTube to optimize things for ads, because of course YouTube wants viewers to watch as many ads as possible, because that's how they are also making money. Now, there's several pros to ads. One is that it's basically passive income. Once your video is published, well, the views hopefully keep coming in. You have no guarantee. That's the YouTube algorithm that decides that for you. But if you get views and you have enough subscribers, so you have some following, then you can actually earn money with that. And you don't need to publish new videos in order to earn money. Of course, if you don't publish any videos anymore, you're likely not getting pushed by the YouTube algorithm, and then your passive income is going to slowly go down. So it's not that passive after all. But at least it scales with your audience. So if you have an audience of millions of viewers, then, well, you also get a decent amount of ad income. Now, to give you an idea, in my case, I have a channel of about 280,000 subscribers. So, by the way, subscribers themselves don't really say all that much. They're more of a vanity metric. It's more about how many views your current videos attract. So in my case, on average, that's about 30,000, 40,000 views per video. And overall, it means that with the current size of my channel, I make, I guess, around between 1,000 and 2,000 euros a month just in ad income. Now, there are some cons as well with ad income. One is it's pretty unpredictable. Sometimes a video takes off, sometimes it doesn't. So that means that from month to month, you're never going to know what you will earn. And of course, in order to get to a level where this actually starts paying for things, you need to post a lot of content, and it needs to be very high quality. You need to do it consistently. The revenue also varies very much per niche. For example, if you have a YouTube channel that focuses on finance, you're going to be paid more than a YouTube channel that focuses on teenagers. So depending on your content type, ads are more or less feasible. So you're just gonna have to figure that out. Now, one important thing is if you focus on mainly growing or income through ads, is that actually educational channels work really well. If you publish evergreen content, basically content that people keep watching, then it is going to help make your ad revenue more consistent over time. So to give you an example, I run a YouTube channel that focuses on Python and software design. So if I publish educational videos on those topics that a lot of people are looking for, then these videos, they bring in a lot of income over time, and it's very consistent. For example, a couple of years ago, I did a video on Fast API. And because I did that video at the time when it was not yet that popular, basically it ranked on YouTube for the Fast API keyword. So whenever somebody searches for Fast API on YouTube, they now see my video first. And that means that over time, this video just keeps racking up views, just keeps going. And if you have a few of these videos, that really helps add consistency to your channel. So specifically on YouTube, that's the kind of thing you need to do if you want to make ad revenue more consistent. But of course, this applies to any type of other content, right? If you write blog posts, you also want to make sure that you write them in a way that basically they become the go-to blog post for your specific topic that you're focusing on. So that's something you have to think about when dealing with ad revenue. And finally, of course, with ad revenue, you're highly dependent on the platform. So if YouTube decides to, I don't know, cut the creator payouts in half because they have to cover their own costs and they can't make it with the current revenue, well, you can't do much about it. I mean, you can leave YouTube, but that's probably not what you want. So you're kind of handed over to, let's say, the things that these big tech companies like Google do. And that's kind of dangerous. On the other hand, it's also true if you're publishing blogs on a platform like Medium, or if you're highly dependent on search engine optimization, or maybe nowadays chatbot optimization. So with that line of revenue, that's something you really have to seriously think about. And that's why it's also important to not be only dependent on that type of revenue. So a second type of revenue that therefore you see many content creators do is making some kind of deals with other brands or having sponsored content. And that means that companies basically pay you for mentioning or integrating their product into your content. Now, this pays a lot more, a lot higher than what you would get from the standard YouTube ads, for example. In my case, even like some of these sponsors, they pay a lot of money per video. And with my kind of number of views, it's easily possible to earn between 1,000 to 5,000 euros, dollar per deal. So that means that if you have a focused niche and you have a really loyal audience, this can work really well. If you do a few of these sponsored content per month, then you can basically make a living of this. Now, kind of problem with sponsorships is that you are now introducing other brands into your content. And if you're not careful, that can actually backfire on your audience because they will feel like you're advertising stuff to them that's not really relevant. So if you do sponsorships, you have to be very careful with the types of deals that you want to make, right? It's not only in terms of topic. So for example, on my Python software design YouTube channel, I do mostly tooling for developers or cloud tools or whatever. But I wouldn't feel comfortable, I don't know, promoting an energy drink or something because it doesn't really make sense to do that as in my niche, right? So you have to be careful with those things. And there's other complications as well with sponsorships, which is more related to the negotiation that you need to do with these brands. They might, lowball you initially. You may not know what is a lowball price and what is a decent price for sponsored content. There's legal stuff because they may ask you to sign a contract. Or actually, if they don't, maybe you actually want to let the brand sign a contract so that they don't, ask you to do like 500 different revisions of your content or something before it can be published. You need to set deadlines. So it's like a whole project. It's really, it's something you need to be mindful of. It's not that easy. And in the end, it limits also your control over your messaging. So you also have to be careful in what you allow and what you don't allow. For example, in my case, I don't publish dedicated sponsored videos. So let's say we have a brand and they have some sort of tool. I'm not going to post a video only talking about that tool because I don't feel like that would be very, very good for the trust and the relationship that I have with my audience. And as content creator, that is actually the most important asset that you have. So you have to be careful. Always be open about the sponsorships that you do and make sure that whatever you use, whatever brands you work with, that it makes sense to promote them to your audience. Other types of income. The third type is affiliate marketing. So basically what this is that you earn a commission when someone buys something through a custom link that you post somewhere. And this works really well if, for example, you are a product review content creator. So you review some products or you give like a top 10 of the best products for that goal. Well, then you can post links to those products on the web shops, Amazon, etc. And whenever somebody in your audience clicks one of those links and they buy something, you get a commission. So at that sense, posting these reviews is pretty scalable because if you have some reviews that work really well and you do a good quality review that people like to watch or read, then having affiliate links makes a lot of sense. And it's also kind of passive. You don't have to deliver the product or something. So if you're doing tutorials, if you're doing product reviews, this works really well. Now, cons of this, and I've also noticed this myself, is that these commissions are actually pretty low. It's like Amazon's like 2 to 3% or something. So that means if you want to earn some serious income from this, you're going to need a lot of traffic in order for that to actually work for you. And that's also one of my main issues that I had myself with affiliate marketing content, because sometimes I mention books or I did some Apple related stuff or something. And then I used these affiliate links, but maybe I made like 10, 20, 30 euros a month or something on them. Now, of course, I could push more for that. But that's also another issue with affiliate marketing, is that if you want affiliate marketing to work, you're going to need to put those links, those affiliate links everywhere. And that means at the same time, you also have to make sure that it actually fits and that you're not overdoing it, that people don't get confused on what they need to click on. So affiliate links, yes, that can work for specific type of content, namely product reviews, but be careful, don't overload your audience and use them for tools that you genuinely use and recommend and not just random stuff. Now, the fourth type, and now this is becoming a bit more interesting. This is actually one where you could make a serious income out of this, and that's selling digital products. Think of things like ebooks, online courses, Notion templates, stuff like that. The nice thing about that is that because these are digital things, you make them once and distribution is literally infinite. So the profit margins for this can be very high. And on top of it, since these are your own digital products, if you sell an online course, for example, about something with pre-recorded videos, some exercises, etc., well, you have full control over the pricing, the branding, the content, distribution, which is, of course, what you would use your content for. Now, that sounds great. And actually, you can make a lot of money with online courses specifically. This is actually currently my main source of income. So next to the ads, I do some sponsored content. And courses basically make up, I'd say, about 50 to 60% of the income of my company. So that's, it's important. It's a crucial part for me to be able to keep doing this. Now, there's some cons. Of course, it's not easy to create these things. Maybe an ebook or something, it's doable. But if you create an online course, that takes a lot of time. I've created several of these, from shorter courses to longer flagship style courses. And sorry, that's my coffee machine that's going off. So If you create a course and you want it to be good, that takes a lot of time. There's videos, there's exercises, there's challenges. You may want to add quizzes. Maybe people want a certificate at the end. There is, God, it's really going on and on. There is support that you need to think about. Maybe people have questions. You want to answer their comments. Almost there. Coffee machine is getting so complicated nowadays. They're doing, I don't know what kind of magic. Anyway, okay, I think it's quiet now. Yes, okay. So building a course, maintaining a course takes a lot of time. And of course, you need a system for marketing the course, which probably your content. You need to be able to deliver it. People need to be able to pay for it. There's going to be a bunch of things you need to set up for that. Now, there are platforms out there that can help make this a lot easier. Kajabi, Podia, Teachable. There's like a ton of these. But it's still a lot of work. And if the fit is not right with your audience, it can actually be a flop. If you develop the wrong course, you know, it's going to spend a lot of time and it's not going to work. So that's something you have to be careful of. So when you think about launching a course, you have to make sure that this is actually something that your audience wants. And then you basically come back to what most companies, most startup companies struggle with. Like, how do you make a product that people actually want? How do you find product market fit? And there are steps you can do for this. There's a book by Daniel Priestley called Oversubscribed, which really describes a really good process for doing things like this, and you know, measuring interest by your audience early on, building a waiting list, and marketing messages around that. So you need to follow like a procedure like that in order to be successful with digital products like this. So it's a really good income source, but there's work involved. Now, fifth type of income source is more like fan contributions. So these are things like Patreon, YouTube memberships. Maybe you have a membership program where people pay an amount per month and they're a member of some community and you are there in the community. This works. You can build a community of like super fans this way. It's very predictable income because it's recurring. People pay this every month. But at the same time, there's also some cons with this. And the most important one, this is actually the main reason that I haven't done a paid community yet, is that this is pretty high effort to maintain and to keep the audience members engaged. You have to post extra content, be active in the community all the time. And already posting content, doesn't matter whether you're posting YouTube videos or whether you're writing blog posts, posting content is already kind of a hamster wheel. So if you introduce a membership program, you're introducing at the same time a second hamster wheel for you, because that's also yet another example of where you're kind of hard to replace as a content creator, right? For my YouTube videos, I can't really replace myself with somebody else. It's not going to work. People want to see my face. Yeah, maybe you can use AI or whatever, but it's not authentic. So that's really not what I want to do. If you have a paid membership, people pay to get access to you. You can't, or you shouldn't fake that. So memberships in that sense are like adding a second hamster wheel, making the business even more dependent on you as a person. And for me, it's not the direction I want to take things in, because that just means more work for me, more stress. And I actually want a business that is less work and less stress. So that's for me the reason why I'm not doing it. Also, of course, it doesn't always work. Like, some audience are not willing to pay for memberships. So it needs to be a specific type of audience. And before you launch a membership, you need to make sure that your audience is actually interested in this. Typically, in a membership, you have to be clear on what your supporters are going to get and basically always over deliver. Now, sixth type is services, things like consulting, personal coaching, speaking engagements, other services that you're offering. For example, so my YouTube channel is about Python, software design, writing clean code. So I offer a service to help companies improve the quality of their code base. So this is more like a consulting offer that we have. And I feel like for me, this is a pretty good fit. And of course, it also depends on what kind of content you're creating, whether this is something that you want to do. But the nice thing about this is that, well, these are basically, in my case, B2B sales, business to business. So the hourly rate is pretty good. It helps build authority because when you offer these services, you can post those reviews, publish them on your site, and get positive recommendations from others. And on top of that, what I found is if I do these type of things for other companies, I learn a lot about how development teams, in my case, work, what they're doing, where they're missing the mark. And it helps me strengthen my content because I make content not specifically about those companies. Like, hey, I was at this company and they did a really bad job. I don't do that. But of course, there are patterns that you can recognize. For example, I noticed that in quite a few companies, actually, the data teams, they didn't really pay attention to SQL injection attacks. And I thought it was bad because if you're a data scientist and you're writing a script, you just use some SQL, and somebody, I don't know, an intern or something decides, oh, that's actually useful, let's build an API for that. Now you can suddenly get access to your data and do whatever you want if you're a bit savvy. So you have to be careful. So that, and as a result, I made a video covering do's and don'ts when you're dealing with SQL queries. So if you do this stuff, it's not just income, it's also a learning experience for you, and it helps you write better content. Now, some cons, again, similar to memberships, this is kind of harder to scale, right? It's time intensive. It means that it's again access to you, so that there's like a limit on what you can do. And it only works if you reach a certain level of personal branding and trust. If you're like just a random person on the internet with 3 subscribers and 2 videos or blogs, then yeah, that's not really going to be enough. So this is more like a next level stage of income. And it's really great if you have like a niche expertise, like coding, business, health, these kind of things, then it works pretty well. Another type of product that I feel like is even harder, which is why I haven't done it actually, is to sell physical goods to your audience. And that can be merch, like, I don't know, a branded t-shirt or something, or a mug, or these are not that hard to do, by the way. But it can also be like custom products that are related to your niche. Like, for example, I've considered, oh, maybe I should, release some sort of mechanical keyboard for the developer audience that like that. Now, if you were able to do that, it's some nice things. This can go viral if you do it right. You can sell a lot of these things. Think of Linus Tech Tips screwdriver. That went really well, and increases brand loyalty. And it overall makes you look like a more serious business. Now, merch, maybe not so much. But it's still nice, if you can make a t-shirt with your brand on it and people wear it and other people see it. So it's even can help you get some extra visibility. Now, cons of merch and physical products. Typically, there's low margins on these things, unless you really sell a lot of them. And unless it's like a very standard thing like merch, where you have services like Teespring that basically handle all the things for you. Well, if you want to actually sell a physical product, you need inventory, shipping, customer service. You risk not selling something. Maybe you made a product that nobody wants, right? And then you have 1,000 mechanical keyboards in stock. It's not really great. So it takes potentially a lot of time, and that's pretty high risk. So you also have to be comfortable with this type of product as a content creator. And I'm not there yet. I might do merch actually pretty soon. I'm considering that, but doing physical products, I'm a bit scary of doing that. So if you do it, try to find a way to like do it at a small scale initially, maybe like limited runs or something. That might actually work quite well before you start doing really big investments into this. Now, so I've talked about all these different types of income, right? We had ad revenue from the platforms. We had sponsorships, which are higher paid but more work. We have affiliate marketing, which means you have to post links. It's passive, but you need to potentially post a lot of links. We've talked about digital products like ebooks and online courses. They can provide a lot of income, but they're also quite intensive to make, and you need to make sure that your audience actually wants that. There's more membership type of income, Patreon, YouTube memberships, school communities, these kind of things, which can bring in a lot of extra consistent income, but it is an extra hamster wheel, so be mindful of that. There's consulting, coaching, those type of services. Works really well if you are in a B2B niche, which if you're doing content on AI, data science, coding, then that is, in my opinion, a pretty good fit. And merch or physical products, which sometimes can work, but can also be quite risky. So I'd say if you just want some passive income and you work on your own, maybe just focus on ads and affiliate links, maybe do some sponsored content from time to time. I mean, if you do that and you do it well, I think you can basically run a small one-person business. That should work. If you want more control of your income, then I think the next step up is to actually sell digital products like ebooks or a small online course, these kind of things. If you want high ticket revenue, higher income, then consulting works. Sponsorships kind of fall under that as well. So that's something to consider. But they're more work, like I mentioned. And finally, if you're interested in really becoming like a product company, well, consider physical products that you can sell on merchandise. But you need a strong personal brand for that, and it's a lot of work. Also, what I've heard from other creators about that. Now, so that's sort of an overview of the main sources of income and my own experience with those things. So let me know in the comments, which income stream are you focusing on? What is the main way that you earn money? And are there other streams that you are currently considering? What do you think is the next step for you? Let me know in the comments. And so this is like the first video I do on this channel. If you want to learn more about certain topics related to being a content creator, in particular the business side of things, post it in the comments and let me know what you want to learn more about, and then I can post a video about that as well. Thanks for watching and see you next time.